Just wanted to spend some time with you guys this afternoon. The question that we posed on the post was, do we want to be right, or do we want to be healed? And that's something that's been in my heart lately. When we see such a toxic environment of people that put themselves out there as wanting to be right, they want to be more, they're invested in being more right than they are in harmony, right? For people who want, let's say I say, hey, I want peace. The real question behind that statement, the real agenda behind that statement will be revealed in my attitude and how I treat other people, because I'm finding a lot of people who say they want peace, they don't really want peace. They just want to be heard and shut me down. All right. I remember several years back, I was playing basketball and I sprained my ankle. It was the same ankle. I've sprained the same ankle 3 or 4 times over the years. And apparently when I went to go get therapy with this sprain, it really never healed correctly over the years. And so the therapist said, hey, you have a lot of scar tissue in your ankle, which scar tissue means that it never healed correctly. It healed, she said, quote unquote, but it didn't heal right. It's possible to heal wrong. It's possible, I'm saying it again, it's possible to heal wrong. And so she said, you healed wrong, and that's why you have all this scar tissue. So she says to me, get this, she says, we're going to have to re-injure it in order for it to heal correctly. Now, I'm no therapist expert or any kind of, expert when it comes to muscles and tissues, but when I heard the phrase re-injure it, that doesn't sound fun. So what she had to do was re-injure it essentially, and it was actually painful. I'm not gonna lie, it was actually painful, and I was a little hesitant though in pursuing and go ahead for the treatment. But she asked me this question. She said, do you just want to stop the pain, or do you want to be healed? And I was like, wow. I said, my brain immediately says, I just want to stop the pain. I want to just shut the pain sensors down. I want to shut everything down that's causing conflict or creating conflict for me. That's my first answer. But I really want, long term, I want to be healed. I want to be whole. And what scar tissue often does is it disguises and it masks tissue that's been scarred. And so when we look at our world, all right, when I look at people, the conflict and character will surface in relationships. Always. If you were on an island all by yourself and you didn't have anybody around, you wouldn't be in conflict, right? Because there'd be nobody around. But it's always when you're in the same room with someone, eventually you'll find something to disagree on. You'll find something to debate about. You'll find something to, back and forth about. So what I'm finding though in our current narrative is I find a lot of people that are wanting to prove themselves right. If you the tension on social media is extraordinarily high, right? And a conversation can just turn south based on people that think that they've been healed, but they never healed correctly, right? And I'm sure that some of you, maybe this is you actually broke a bone, but the bone never healed correctly. So if you don't set a bone, the bone will heal and will fuse, but it's just never right. And that's why you feel it anytime it's gonna rain or it's damp or humid or whatever. You feel that edge and you feel that discomfort and you feel that pain, which can lead to other conditions as well. So you can, again, to prove my point, you can heal wrong. And so the whole element, when Jesus talked about to the man in Mark chapter 3, who was hiding his hand. He says, just reveal your hand. His hand was sickly. It had probably had a leprous condition. And he was compensating. That hand became so heavy with sickness and near gangrene. He had his entire body compensated for a sick hand. So this is what I'm saying. We've lost the art of being able to have a conversation. We've lost the art in me listening to understand and you listening to understand me when I speak. One of the things that I see where we've been healed incorrectly, where we healed, actually, if I can use both words in the same sense, but two opposites, we healed broken. And we have all this scar tissue and everything's good. Everything's good until you rub up against me the wrong way. And I'm going to be hiding that sickly hand. And what will happen, the reactions and the sudden jerk reactions filled with anger and unforgiveness and vengeance is a result of hiding that part of your life that's been wounded. Think about this, man. Where does that come from? That doesn't come when somebody posts something on Facebook and all of a sudden 2 comments later it turns into 200 comments later and people are just so angry and divisive. It's like that. You know where that comes from? You know where your anger comes from? Your anger comes from your heart. That vengeance, that swearing on social media, that comes from your heart. Okay? So again, the question that I'm proposing to you guys is, do you want to prove yourself right? Or do you want to put yourself in a position where you are truly seeking harmony? Like, what's our goal here? Okay, what's our goal in some of our most tense situations right now, i.e. racism? What is our goal? Is our goal complete harmony where everyone gets to experience equality on all levels? Or are we, you know what, I'm angry at you and I'm going to make you pay for hurting me? That's not Christ. That's not a resolution. You hurt me, I'm going to hurt you back. That's not Christ at all. And I think we could say, you know, racism begins in the heart, and that is true. But we got some really heart deep issues, and the reality is that it starts with me. So change, right? We're always talking about other people have to change. You guys have to change. You have to think like me. You have to process like me. You have to listen to me. And I'm gonna speak up, and not for you to understand, but I'm gonna speak up so I can shut you down. And if you can't disagree with me, you have to think the way I think. And if I put something on social media and you disagree, forget it. You are the evil. You are a devil. So again, are you attempting to prove yourself right? Like, are you willing to learn? I think that's a good question. Are you willing to the possibility that you have an injury and that you have scar tissue that's covering that injury, but in so many words, quote unquote, protecting that injury, but you're still not healed? And we know that because every time we put you in conflict, you go from 0 to 10 and you go from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. And everybody it becomes the victim of your overflow anger and your overflow bitterness. But Jesus comes now. He comes to this earth. He says to us, he says, I'm coming to heal your heart. He says, I have come to heal the broken heart, the brokenness of humanity. And there's a bit of brokenness in every single person here. In the sound of my voice, there's a bit of brokenness inside of me. There's a bit of brokenness inside of you. But it's possible, though, in our interactions with others, because conflict and our character has a way of surfacing in relationships. Conflict is one of those things that essentially happen in our relationships. So what I see happening is when we begin to interact with each other and we don't even have a chance to be civil because our brokenness becomes the evident factor, and we have all these symptoms of anger and jealousy and strife and short-tempered, all these things that are completely opposite from the fruit of the Spirit, right? Paul says in the book of Galatians, the fruit of the Spirit is. But he begins with the word but, the fruit of the Spirit. And he begins the verse with but, because prior is all these things that are the opposite of the fruit of the Spirit: anger, jealousy, strife, unforgiveness. So again, it's possible now. It's possible. The quality of your character, the quality of your fruit enables you now, when you see conflict. Somebody else's conflict doesn't have to be mine, first of all. Can we just put that out there? Someone else's conflict does not have to be yours. See, I have the peace of God, and as a result, I'm not going to allow your senseless conflict to become mine. Now, if you're willing to learn, to grow, and learn new things, and learn, and it's possible, I'm going to put this out there. It's possible, this is the true art, the true nature of growth, to be able to admit that it's possible that you're wrong. Admit the possibility that you are wrong. No, it's not. It's impossible. I'm like, are you kidding me? I've had conversations. It's impossible. I'm like, what? So you know as a fact, you're 100% right. And so when we begin to make our preferences principles, we put a lot of preferences out there and flavor ice creams, and we want everybody to agree with it as if it was a principle. It's not the case. It is not the case. This is what I would like you to do. Just one bit of counsel. Next time you're in conflict, okay? Next time I want you to be able to listen to other people, right? And if 5 people say to you, man, you're short-tempered. If 10 people say to you, man, you're really short-tempered. Or 10 people say, man, you're really arrogant. That's the point in time where you need to listen. Go, wow, maybe I didn't appreciate the way they said it, but man, 10 people said the same thing about me. Maybe I should, get a clue. Maybe I should listen, right? So the feedback, don't take everything as criticism. Healed people who are made whole are able to take criticism and take it as feedback, all right? People who are not whole, who have scar tissue over their woundedness, who never healed correctly, who healed broken, take criticism as harsh, as a harsh judgment, and they just can't handle it. They're unable to hear what the other person's saying because the other person is coming by that arm that's been wounded. It's like that arm that's been wounded. I'm okay until somebody bumps into me. I'm okay until somebody confronts me. I'm okay until somebody says, you're voting wrong. I'm okay until somebody says to me, hey, you shouldn't vote for that person. I'm okay. And as soon as somebody comes near the very elements of my life that are wounded, I'm going to show you. And I'm going to stand up for myself. Let's take a step back, man. Come on, guys. Let's take a step back. Everything does not, we're making everything a conflict. Everything's a conflict. Let's do battle. Let's do battle. Let's make everything Goya. Let's battle it out now. Come on. It's like, can we just get a life? Is that too mean to say? Can't we just get a life? We're battling over Goya. I don't care. Who cares? Oh my gosh. Let's take a step back and let's ask the Holy Spirit now to reveal the areas of our lives that have scar tissue, the areas of our lives that healed wrong, that emotional bone that set and healed but didn't heal correctly. And anytime we're in conflict, it re-aggravates that injury, and we express ourselves in anger and hurt and bitterness as a result of our woundedness. Let's take a step back and really discover the art of the possibility that we might be wrong, that we may be pushing our preferences as principles. Let's take a step back from all that, people. Please stop. I'm going to tell you what I tell my 12-year-old and my 9-year-old. Guys, stop fighting. Cut it out. Do we want to be right, or do we want to be whole? There are times when I want to be right. But long term, the reality is I want there to be wholeness. I want there to be healing for mankind. That God would heal us of our own ways, of our own vices, of our own anger, of our own bitterness, of our own unforgiveness. And that there are things that some of you hear right now at the sound of my voice. There are things that you are holding on to that you should be letting go. And then there are things that you should be, what did I say? There are things that you're holding on to that you should be letting go. And then there are things that you are letting go that you should be holding on to. Okay? And some of you are just really angry at other people. And it's affecting you. You're wondering why you can't sleep, and you're filled with anxiety, and you're so short-tempered, and you're on edge. It's because, man, you're holding things against people that you should not hold against. First of all, I'm thankful to God that He doesn't treat me that way. And for some of you, I have said to people that I've been in connection with, I was like, man, I hope I'm never your enemy, man, because I'd be in trouble. It's like some of you have enemy. You've made everybody an enemy just because they disagree with you, and you have to be. I have to begin to listen and filter through the things that may upset me, that may jolt my paradigm, in order for me to truly understand people. Think of what Jesus did. He had to get through the mess, right, in order to bring the message right to our hearts. And Jesus came, man. We came to Him with all kinds of pre-existing conditions, and thankful He didn't disqualify us or count us out. He came to us while we were yet sinners. So let's seek wholeness and healing as our main mantra, rather than debating ourselves in order for us to be right. All right, guys, I love you, and I trust I didn't take too much time of your lunch, and you finish up your sandwich there. I love you. Have a great day.